Good morning, students. I hope you all are doing very great. And today we are going to continue the part 2 of chapter number 7 from class 6 NCERT, which is titled as Our Country India. First part has been completed and we learnt about different geographical extent for our country. Now we are going to continue with different geographical aspects, different landforms of our country in this part. So let's please start. Now coming to the physical division, there are three different type of ranges in Himalayas. Now Himalayas, you know, they are present in the northern part of our country. Himalaya means the abode of snow. Him means the snow. Alaya means the house, abode. Okay, so Himalaya means the abode of snow. Now what are Himalayas? You already know that they are very tall, huge, rugged, snow-capped mountains. They are the source of rivers, huge rivers. They have glaciers with them. Our country is water fed because of the presence of glaciers which are there in Himalayas. The most characteristic features is that they are the mountains with great heights. They are covered with snow. They have large valleys, they have glaciers, they have deep rivers and rich vegetation. Now the Himalayan mountain range is divided into three parallel ranges. Okay, so parallel in the sense that on the top, the first one is your Himadri, then we have Himachal, and then we have Shivaliks. Okay, now this is the first one, the top one. Over here, this is the second one, and these are the lowest one. Okay, now your Himadri is the northernmost range of Himalayas. This is the highest of all the three, and it contains almost all the highest peaks, and it is extremely cold. The presence of glaciers lies here. Second is your Himachal, which is having the presence of all your hill stations, and the third is outer Himalayas, which is Shivalik. Okay, so in your book only Shivalik is mentioned. So here they are greater Himalayas, middle Himalayas, and outer Himalayas. Now in middle Himalayas, the middle Himalayas lies to the south of Himadri. Okay, this we have done. Now we have northern plains also. In northern plains, obviously they lie to the south of Himalayas, so they are generally level and flat. Okay, now this we have done many times, that they are formed by alluvial deposit. Now what is alluvial deposit? Alluvial deposit is carried, the alluvial is carried by the rivers when they come from the when they are coming from the mountains and they are coming to the plains. So they are bringing alluvial or the silt with them, which they are depositing in the plains, and this presence of alluvial makes the northern plain very fertile and absolutely good for cultivation. Now the main three rivers of the plains are your Ganga, Brahmaputra, and Indus. These are the three dominant rivers of the northern plains, responsible for the high concentration of population. Now why there is a high concentration of population? Because the presence of these three rivers and their tributaries makes the land fertile. Fertility of land allows cultivation. Presence of water is there. We have agriculture, so the water and the food needs are being met. So obviously this area remains absolutely suitable for the human habitation, for people to dwell. Okay, so this we have done. And now what is a tributary? Tributary is a stream or river that flows into and joins the main river. Okay, so a tributary, because it is joining the main river, so this will never fall directly into the sea. Okay, it first joins the main river, then it gets into. Now coming to the third part, the third division. Now we have done two. We have done greater Himalayas, then we did Himachal, which is the middle Himalaya. Now we are doing Shivalik, or the outer Himalayas. Now your we have done that Himachal or middle Himalayas, they lie to the south of Himadri or greater Himalayas. Now to the south of Himachal lies your Shivalik or greater Himalayas. Okay, So the absolute thing is that divides it, that separates it from the other two, is the presence of dense forest in this region. Okay, northernmost part of Shivalik is known as Purvanchal range, which is having small hills, which are very famous hills in this area, which is Garo, Khasgi and Chantia. Okay, rice and wheat are the main crops grown in the terrace farm in this region, right? So the outer Himalaya has glaciers. If you take the broader division, the greater Himalaya has the presence of glaciers. Then we have mid Himalayas, which has presence of hill station, and your outer Himalayas has the presence of your dense forest. Okay, now we are beginning with the next physical division, which is the desert. So we did the Himalayas, then we did the plain areas. Now we are coming to the western part of India. Over here lies the Great Indian Desert. This area we all know is dry, hot and sandy. Okay, this stretch of land is hot, dry and sandy, and because it is hot, dry and sandy, and it receives very limited rainfall, so the presence of vegetation is very little over here. But there had been efforts by the government, like we have Indira Gandhi Canal in Rajasthan now, which has improved the presence of water in the. Now this particular slide shows all the physical division very clearly, like your Himalayas here, then we have plains, which is your Indo-Gangetic plains, then we have Thar desert, this peninsular plateau, this we are going to discuss now. Then we will talk about Ghats, the coastal plains and the island groups in our. Now coming to the plateaus, from this part to this part here in the south is your peninsular plateau. Okay, so this is triangular in shape. So the river Narmada over here divides it into two parts, which first one is your central highlands and the other one, the lower part, is your Deccan plateau. Okay, so the peninsular plateau is divided into two because of Narmada river. Okay, so this is your again Narmada river, that is called Narmada Valley here. Okay, these are your central highlands and this is your Deccan plateau. Coming to the characteristics of Deccan plateau, let's do it in detail. It is almost triangular in shape. The relief is uneven. It is not like plain area. It goes up and down. It is not absolutely flat. It begins from northern plains and extends till Kanyakumari in the south, which is the southernmost tip of India. Regions, obviously, this region has it has numerous hills, ranges and valleys. To the southwest of this plateau lies the Aravalli Hills, and these Aravalli Hills are the oldest ranges in the world. Okay, and they are there in our country. Then we have Vindhyas and Satpuras also. These are other two ranges which we have in this region. River Narmada and Tapi, these two rivers are very important river which flow in these ranges, and they are west flowing rivers. They drain into the Arabian Sea. Okay, this is very important because generally the rivers are east flowing rivers, but these two are very important west flowing rivers. Please make it a point. These are west flowing rivers which are flowing into the Arabian Sea. Now the plateaus which are rich in these plateaus are rich in mineral like coal and iron. So obviously because we have presence of minerals here, so mining is done in this area. And then we have Western Ghats and Eastern Ghats, which lies to the west and east side of the peninsular plateau respectively. Now coming to using the maps, we'll see the location of different ranges. We talked about Aravalli Hills, then we talked about Vindhyas, then Malwa. Okay, this picture will give you further clear thing for you. This will help you to understand Aravalli, Vindhya, Satpura. Narmada river is flowing over here. Okay, Malwa plateau, Aravalli, Vindhyas, Chota Nagpur plateau in the east direction over here. We have Rajmahal here. Okay, so this is the distribution of our peninsular plateau. Now we start with the rivers in the plateau region. Now we have the east flowing rivers. This Mahanadi, Godavari, then your Krishna, then your Kaveri. These are important rivers which are your east flowing rivers. That means this is the east direction and this is your west direction. So they all are falling into east. Okay, the relief feature is such that they all fall into Bay of Bengal, but your Narmada and Tapi, they fall into the Arabian Sea. Okay, so these are west flowing rivers and these are east flowing rivers. Okay, so your Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri, they drain into the Bay of Bengal, but Narmada and Tapi, these two are west flowing rivers that drain into the Arabian Sea. Now after this we have Ghats. To your western, to the west of your Peninsula Plateau, we have Western Ghats, and to the east side we have Eastern Ghats. Now there is a difference between the two. Your Western Ghats are also termed as Sahyadri. They are continuous, okay, but the Eastern Ghats are broken and uneven, like they are not like, you know, continuous as the Western ones. So this is the difference between the two. Okay, now we have learnt about Greater Himalayas and plains, then the Thar desert, then the plateau area. Okay, then the Ghats also we have done. Now we are going to talk about the coastal plains of India. To the west of the Ghats we have obviously the presence of coastal plain is to the west of Western Ghats and to the east of Eastern Ghats. Now the western coastal plains are very narrow. Again we have a difference. They are very narrow on the west side, and over here they are very broad on the eastern side. And this we have done just now, that we have east flowing river, west flowing rivers here, and we have eastern flowing rivers here. Okay, so this is all. Now when we are doing about rivers, there's one important thing that you need to understand is the source of river. Okay, now let me tell you, now the source of the river is from where it is originating. Now it has its journey, it is going down. Okay, and river mouth is from where it is when it is turning in, joining it into the sea or the ocean. Okay, source is from where it is starting, then it has its journey, and before it joins, this is a place, the mouth is a place where the river is joining the sea or the ocean. Now when it joins here, what happens when it is coming from the from the mountains, the speed goes down. Okay, and when it is going down, when it is carrying all the sediments, it divides into small streams like this, as you can see in this picture. And in this picture it is dividing like this. So when it is dividing like this before it is joining, so it is depositing huge sediments here. Okay, and it is leaving near the mouth of the river before it is entering the slower moving or the stagnant water, which is in this case is I'm talking is the lake or the ocean. It could be a huge water body, generally it is ocean or the sea. Okay, so this is what it is. It forms deltas here like this. They are triangular in shape. And now Sundarban delta is formed because of where the it is formed where the Ganga and Brahmaputra flow into the Bay of Bengal. There the Sundarban deltas is formed. Okay, this is a very important GK question, and these are the largest delta in the world. This is again, so you all have to remember it all the time. This is Sundarban delta is the largest delta in the world, which is formed by two rivers, Ganga and Brahmaputra. Okay, I think this is clear. So the delta would be formed when the river is joined at the river mouth. River mouth is the place where the river is joining the sea or the ocean. So before it joins at the river mouth, it divides itself into small streams like this. Now this is the last part of this chapter, which is a two group of island. Now we have two major group of island, Andaman and Nicobar Islands and the Lakshadweep Islands. Okay, so coming to the Lakshadweep Island first, they are in the Arabian Sea. They are over here in Arabian Sea. They are the coral islands which are located off the coast of Kerala. What is coral? So we have the marine animals called polyps. Now polyps, after when they die, they leave their skeletons. Okay, and other polyps grow on the top of these hard skeletons only, and like this they form huge coral islands after they are attached with each other. So they are formed in the Lakshadweep Islands. That is why Lakshadweep Island are also termed as coral islands. Okay, And then we have another group of island, which is your Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So they lie in the southeast of Indian mainland, which is in Bay of Bengal. So, and another tragic thing that happens with which these two group of island was to face was that they were hit by tsunami, and huge destruction they had faced in the past. So with this we come to the end of part 2 of this chapter, and we have completed this chapter. So please do like, share and subscribe. Take good care of yourself. Thank you for watching.